Hey guys, it's me. I know I haven't done a video yet on how I am and how my beliefs are with God and how close I am with Him. Oh my gosh, my testimony about what He has done for my life and how He has been in my life is probably phenomenal in a way. I've been through so much. I mean, a lot have said, a lot of old friends and everything have said that I've been through hell and back. um, I did write in like the below comments a little bit about my story, but I think a video is probably easier to do so you could, see me talk. However, let's start from the beginning. I went to high school up here in Ohio, and around 2006, my dad had a 5-way bypass surgery in his heart. It was supposed to be a 3-way bypass, but it ended up being a 5-way. During that time, actually a little later after that time, he ended up having kidney failure because he was diabetic. And we tried searching for a kidney for him for so long. He was put, this was through my senior year now, by the way. He was put on dialysis, and it was just wearing him down. I mean, when people that don't know what dialysis is, it's when they clean your blood and the toxins out of it because your kidneys aren't working anymore to relieve the waste. And they could do 2 different types of dialysis treatment, which one is the way through the port in the bloodstream, and the second one is doing a peritoneal dialysis, which I'll explain a little bit, not really much. Anyways, so he started going on dialysis. It was wearing him down, and we were to the point when he started needing, we were doing dialysis at home because the one through the blood wears you out. It was wiping him, and he wasn't moving around, and he had to do dialysis like every other day. Well, when we came home and did dialysis, it's where he had a tubing or a catheter in his stomach, peritoneal area, while the catheter was on the outside. We had to watch and make sure he didn't get infections or any of that, because then he would die. And he was in that through my first year and second year of college. And when he was on dialysis, he ended up losing what this disease he was getting. He ended up losing his eyesight, and he wasn't able to work anymore after when we started the dialysis. And I remember my senior year on my graduation day, they were running at the hospital because he had to have a surgery done, and then he had to try to get out of that hospital, but they weren't letting him go. And he just made it to my graduation, which I would have understood if he couldn't have. But I remember praying so much for him to get a kidney, and they wouldn't take it from me at that time because I was so young. I was only like 19, and I was legal, but they didn't want to take from me. Well, we found out that I was capable of donating one to him in the year 2008 2008, going into 9. And I was doing all the tests up in Pennsylvania where I was going to school. And they found out it was a match. However, when we went to go see the doctor, the guy said that he wouldn't be able to do it. He said his arteries were too calcified, and if he went in, they would just break. And he didn't want to take from me, even though he would have, he said, because he didn't want to chance it and risk it on my life. Which I think that was God's way of doing something for me later on. We lost the house. We ended up losing the house up here in Ohio due to medical, and we were stuffed somewhere out into the kind of northern part of Ohio, northeastern. I'm not going to say cities. We were shoved over there, and it wasn't the best living conditions at all. We tried to get out, but we didn't have the money, and I came home to help Mom with Dad. And what happened was in the end of August of 2009. Well, let me back up, actually. I'm sorry. He ended up then getting brain cancer and lung cancer, okay? That was in between all the dialysis treatments and all that, so that we found that out. And he was in stage 4. And that was that summer we found out. And he was doing radiation. Chemo didn't work. So then at the end of August of 2009, he ended up with an infection in his peritoneal cavity that went into his bloodstream. The infection was septic blood poisoning, which really they can't do anything when it goes into the bloodstream. So I refused to go to the hospital because I didn't want to remember seeing him on his deathbed. I did not want to remember those times, But I ended up going later on. I mean, my dad's brother was so angry with me for not going, and he kept calling me up and saying it was my last time to see him and yelling at me about it. And my pastor had to step in and help out about it. Then I went up on the 31st of August, and he ended up in the ICU, and I helped my mom decide. And I remember Dad stating to me that he didn't want to be a vegetable, and I knew he was hurting too much. It was just too much on him. He was getting sicker. He was getting, balder and everything. So, we ended up making the decision not to put him on life support because of that reason. We knew that something else would have taken him, and the cancer was getting worse. So, Mom and I remember when Mom was in the hallway talking to the doctors, and I held my dad's hand, and Dad looked at me, and I could see a tear. It's a tear rolling down his face, and he knew something was wrong. Then the day after that, at 3 o'clock in the morning, at 3 o'clock in the morning, I got a phone call on my cell phone to rush up to the hospital. And my dad, as we walked into the ICU room, his heart flatlined. I saw it on the monitor. Just seeing that. The nurse told me, though, that when he was passing away, his eyes were fluttering. And it was like angels. Angels were around him. That he wasn't alone because God was there with him. I believe that. I really do, and I still think to this day that he was in the room with me, and he was there with Mom when we were watching him, just holding his cold hand. I ran out of the room. I couldn't deal with it. I just couldn't. Dad ended up dying at 4 o'clock that morning on September 1st, 2009. I knew God was with us. I knew I was there for a reason. Which, later it came to me, I know why he took him. And I believe this. On to my story. For 2 years when I was in college in Pennsylvania, I was raped by 3 men. I didn't tell a soul. I couldn't tell my parents. I told the counselor and she said it was rape. And I remember one of them trying to key into my room. I remember being called a whore, and I didn't do anything. I remember another guy at school, the basketball coach. He helped me land a job at this school. I went up to thank him, just, being nice. And he shut his door and started touching me. I got out of that room fast. I couldn't deal with it. When I came home, the springtime, springtime, my family doctor saw that I got an STD from one of them, one of those hurtful men. So, later on that fall of 2009 when I came home, because remember I was helping my mom with my dad, but then Dad passed away in front of me. I went to a gynecologist and he got my lab results back from the doctor, but he took me into this kind of like an operating room. I didn't know what was going on. He never told me anything. I think he didn't want me to freak out. And they found out I got that HPV virus from one of the guys. But when I was sitting on the table and he was doing what he had to do, I felt like my dad's arms were around me. I felt like God was there too. Being scared and being raped, it's not the best thing in the world. I felt these arms were holding me. They held me close. I knew Dad was there. I knew God was there. I knew he wasn't alone anymore. The test came back positive. They tried. The thing's gonna always be with me, but it's like hidden. You know, no one can get it from me. But it's the marker to this day of what happened to me. Being shoved into a corner. Having those men do what they did to me. I felt God. God was there. I prayed to Him every night. For those of you who know me, I don't cry. I never cry in front of people. So this is really like something real. In the years, through my high school, through my college years, I was always complaining about headaches. I never said anything really to my parents because Mom was dealing with Dad. She couldn't deal with me too. Ended up finding out in 2010, September 2010. I was driving to school up here in Akron. I'm gonna say that. And my left eye blacked out. Found out I had a stroke on my left side due to the pain. I rushed into the doctor to find out what was wrong, and they did say I had a stroke on my whole left side. I still have weakness over here and everything. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with me, and later on, a neurologist, like, they kept saying it was migraines. No, it wasn't. Later, a neurologist finally figured out that I had what's known as intracranial hypertension, or old terminology is pseudotumor cerebri. It's where I have abundance of spinal fluid that collects in my brain. And this is due to tiny ventricles in my brain. And if you even touch the ventricles or do anything with them, they'll break instantly. They're like paper and glass. So there's no cure for it. And every time that my ventricles, they try to pass the fluid through, they just collapse and not allow the fluid to go through, which makes like a tumor appearance. It acts like a brain tumor. So that's why I was getting the headaches. Well, I call them head pains. I've been through, well, actually, and I started losing my eyesight, and the doctor saw it, my doctor, and he got me in right away. And I've been starting to go partially blind. I can't see peripheral vision anymore. Everything's blurry. I can't read anything. I could see like moving objects or, shiny things or certain colors. I can't see anything else. In October 5th, 2012, we went to University Hospitals because Cleveland Clinic and Summa hospitals couldn't help me. So we went up to UH because I heard they had a great neurology group. And my doctor got me in right away. I told him it was getting worse. And we ended up having a VP shunt placed into my brain. And I don't think you'll be able to see, but it's like right here. And it's like goes like a catheter and goes into my peritoneal cavity like my dad's, but mine's not on the outside. Since that time, my eyesight's gotten worse, mobility issues, and I've also grown to having seizures. I've begun having issues walking at times. I can't do a lot anymore because the pain is so severe. I've had over 30 spinal taps, and that's where they drain fluid from your spine. I've had 8 brain surgeries so far. One, I was in the hospital, the ICU unit for like almost a week, a couple days a week. That was so they could do testing, but still. But now I realize, still going through this, and I'm still in high pain of 10 out of 10. I realized that that God took my dad from me, because the reason why he took him from me, my mom, was because I was getting sicker. He knew that Mom couldn't handle both of us being down. I mean, how could she? She wouldn't be able to handle all the doctor appointments and everything. I'm enough to handle as it is sometimes, but I mean, I can get up and help myself and do, but there's times when I need help getting, like, say, an ice bag right away for my head. The worst part about all this disease that I have, this condition, is I've been feeling alone. You feel alone with this. You feel like you're by yourself. But, I've grown closer with God through this. Knowing He's there waiting for me if I did die. I'm not scared of dying anymore, because I know there's so many times I've wanted to, but I won't, because I love my mother so much that I wouldn't do that to her. I do get scared about what's going to happen to me in the future when she goes. But for those who say that, they don't think God's there, He is. Trust me, He's really there, and He's been helping me. I mean, trying to cope with all this, with my dad's condition and seeing him die, my condition, me not getting better but getting worse. He's always there. He listens. So, really, I just think that people get so discouraged anymore. They think He isn't listening, but God is. And they shouldn't feel that way. He listens. He listens really well. Even when you're having a hard time, when you feel alone. And I really put a lot out there, I know. But I thought you guys should know my side, my testimony on what's gone on in my life and how He's been emphasized and a part of it. Trust me, there's a lot of dark moments in my life and moments I just want to give up, and I just think, is there really a God? But there is. Really, it's only been my mom and I, and my grandpa and Grandma Shirley. A lot of friends have left me because of what's gone on with me. And the only close one I've had is God. And then a couple of my mom's friends, of course. They've been friends with me. But I just wanted to share that with you. Please don't judge me. Please don't make fun of me. I needed to share. So, keep your eyes peeled. I will be doing another video, but not so horribly down like this. I'm thinking about doing one on artwork and how Christianity plays a role in artists. I just need some time. So, I pray for everyone that they have a blessed day and that joy will be brought to you all this year. Don't let little things get you down. Remember, God's always there. Bye, guys.